Welcome back, friends. Miss Dempsey here. Last time we were together, we read the first part of our story, A Harbor Seal Pup Grows Up. And we also looked at key vocabulary terms to help us understand the meaning of the story. Let's review. Our first vocabulary word is survive. Survive means to stay alive. The rescue helpers helped her to survive. Scoot. Scooting is how a little baby seal moves around. Scoot. We have not seen the words release and tip yet in our story. Maybe we'll see them today. Release means to let go. And tip means to turn something on its end so something can pour or spill out. Before reading the second part of our story, we are going to do some retelling, using the photographs to help us. Retelling helps a reader make sure that they can make sense of a story, and it also helps them to share a book with someone else. At each page, I'm going to be asking you to be thinking about this question. What is happening on the pages that you see? A Harbor Seal Pup Grows Up by Joan Hewitt, photographs by Richard Hewitt. Again, our publisher is the Developmental Studies Center. And let's use those photographs to help us retell the beginning. In the beginning, there are seals that are laying on the shore in the sun. And here's Sidney with her mom. What do you see happening in these photos? Turn to your grown-up. In this part of the story, Sidney is with his mother and they lie in the sun. What do you see happening next in the photographs? In this part of the story, Sidney's mother goes fishing. But she doesn't return, and Sidney is left hungry and alone. What do you see? I see that Sidney's still alone, and it looks like the people have called for help, and this is when the Animal Rescue Center people come, and they pick up Sidney. This next section of our book is Nursed Back to Health. So all of the photographs show ways that they took care of Sidney to get her healthy and strong. Here the scientist is checking out Sidney. And in these photographs, we see them feeding Sidney. And they said the substance that was inside the container was like the mother seal's milk. And this part, this was silly. The seal pup Sidney fell asleep in its water dish. And when it woke up, it was alert. What about now? Do you see him using more tools? In these photographs, they talk about taking Sidney's temperature and checking its heartbeat and making sure that it's healthy. Now let's read the rest of our story. Sidney gets her drink 3 times a day. She becomes stronger. Using her flippers, she scoots around. There's that word scoots. Moving quickly. A child's plastic pool becomes Sidney's playpen. She likes the water. She swims faster and faster. Nicole shows Sidney a fish. Sidney doesn't want it. Nicole does not give up. Day after day, she wiggles the fish in front of Sidney. Then one day, the pup swallows it. Before long, Sidney wants to eat fish. She waits for her bucket of fish in the morning. The pup is gaining weight. She no longer needs her healthy drink. So she's grown out of needing the milk, and now she's eating fish. She's getting bigger. Sidney is 5 weeks old. She has a thick layer of fat. The fat will keep her warm in the cold water. Sidney is ready to be on her own. What did you learn about Sidney in this part of the story? Pause the video and turn to your grown-up. Miss Dempsey learned that at 5 weeks old, Sidney is now big and strong enough to survive on her own. I also learned that she has a thick layer of fat to help her stay warm. What do you wonder? I am still wondering if Sidney will find her mother again. I'm also wondering if Sidney will make friends when she returns back to the ocean. Sidney was given fish every day by the workers at the Mammal Center. I wonder if she'll know how to fish herself. Sidney is ready to be on her own. Returning to the ocean. Peter puts the pup in a carrying case. Other scientists take over. They carry Sidney out onto a boat. Sidney is excited by the ocean's salty smell. She shakes in her case. The boat heads for an island. When they're almost there, the boat stops. It's time to say goodbye. A scientist tips the case. Good luck, little one, she says. Sidney slips into the water. She will find other seals. She will catch fish. Sidney will grow up in her ocean home. What did you learn about Sidney in the part that we just read? Pause the video and turn to your grown-up. In the part of the story that we just read, I learned that Sidney was put into a case and carried out onto the boat. She was very excited when she smelt the ocean air. Her case was tipped up and she was released back into the water. At the end of this part, it said that she would find fish and other seals. After reading, I'm still wondering a few things. What are some things you are still wondering? In this story, it answered my question about would she be able to catch food. It says that she'll catch fish. But I'm still wondering if she'll ever meet up with her mother. I'm still wondering what happened to her mother. Did she get lost? Or did she get hurt? I'm also still wondering if Sidney starts a family of her own. For today's activity, we're going to be looking at our story and comparing it to another story about a baby animal. Not too long ago, we read a story about another baby animal called the Baby Duck Story. In this story, we learned about baby ducks and how they grow up. Today, we're going to compare these two stories. When you compare two stories, you're making a text-to-text connection. Text-to-text is when a book reminds you of another book. When I think about these two stories, something they have in common is that they're both about baby animals. Another thing that they have in common, or that's the same, is that they're grown up, either a mother duck or a mother seal has a job and responsibility of taking care of her babies until they're big enough and strong enough to take care of themselves. Something that's different about these books is that a seal is a mammal. That means that they don't hatch from an egg. They are born alive and they need milk from their mother to survive. A baby duck, on the other hand, hatches from an egg. Sometimes the mom sits on top of them to keep them warm. And also, they don't drink milk, but their mother does get them food. Now that we've compared these two books together and talked about how they're similar and different, another activity that I'd like to look at today is one that you could do on a blank piece of paper. I have a paper here that I sent through email to your families, and it says, "A harbor seal pup grows up." Which baby animal book did you like the best and why? So down here you'll write, "I like blank because blank." For example, I might write, "I like a harbor seal pup grows up because I think seals are so cute." Or maybe because it was interesting to see how they released Sidney back into the wild. Draw a picture, add your words, and have fun. Till next time, friends. See you soon.